welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we're going to acquaint you, if you haven't been familiar, with our volunteer firefighter program, because we want you to be interested in that. My guest is Scott Doggette. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you.
Why does somebody want to be a volunteer firefighter? That's a lot of work. That's not like, going to the food bank and sorting cans for a day.
It is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I think people want to give back to the community in a big way. And we have a very active volunteer corps.
Hampton is really, I think, unusual in that.
For departments our size, we're considered a combination department with a career staff and a volunteer staff. And I think it's our history. Hampton has a rich history of giving back to the community, and the fire department tries to capitalize on that. We appreciate the history, we're glad to be a part of it, and we want it to continue.
So this could, and some people may join also because it could be a career path.
Yes, lots of people join the volunteer firefighting ranks in order to get some certifications, get some experience, build their resumes a little bit, so that when they apply for career positions, either with our department or surrounding jurisdictions, there's a little meat in their resume there.
Yeah, I mean, basically, is the training similar, at least at the beginner level?
Yes. While it's taught over a different span of time, our volunteer firefighters and our career firefighters get the same certifications from the state. The Firefighter 1, 2, the hazmat, all the same. We condense it in the Career Academy and develop some muscle memory because we have them every day. In the Volunteer Academy, which is basically 2 nights a week and Saturdays, but for about 6 months.
Oh, wow. To get all that in, you have to do it.
Yeah, it's a big time commitment. So the people that are doing it really want it. The physical requirements for our career and volunteer firefighters are the exact same. We do the same background checks. So once somebody is vetted for our career or volunteer side, it's the exact same thing. Our goal is to show seamless service. When a fire truck arrives on somebody's scene at their worst time in their life maybe, our goal is for the citizens not to know whether it's volunteer or career crew.
I bet they don't even think about it.
They don't. It doesn't matter to them. They need help.
Right,
they need help.
Right.
And I don't think compensation is something that they're worrying about at that time. So we want to deliver the same level of service to our citizens across the board whenever a truck goes out, be it a all-volunteer crew, an all-career crew, or what we see frequently is a combination crew.
Now, one of the things I've learned that is not, I think most people still don't understand, is that most of the calls that y'all go out on really aren't fire.
No.
We think you're going to be a firefighter, you're going to fight fires. There aren't that many.
No.
People are much better.
We have a great community risk reduction section, and they keep the fires in the city down. Most of our calls are EMS calls. About 85% are EMS calls. All of our firefighters are trained as paramedics or EMTIs. All of our volunteer firefighters are trained to at least the EMT basic level. And they're first responders. We get lots of phone calls sometimes. I called 911 for an ambulance and a fire truck showed up in my house. Well, we carry all the same equipment we do on the ambulance, except the stretcher, on the fire truck. And we're able to render that care because our goal is to get the closest unit to the scene of that emergency call and render the aid that we can as quickly as possible.
It is interesting. I mean, I've seen a lot of times there'll be 2 units that respond, or whoever gets there first.
Yes.
Last night at the Walgreens, there was somebody who needed help, and there was a fire truck and an ambulance there. And
we're going to dispatch the closest unit available. We're there to mitigate the emergency. Sometimes they're not true emergencies. But
some people can't distinguish.
Exactly.
But also,
it's an emergency to them, and we want to get the closest unit there to help them as quick as we can.
So what do people learn if they're going to be a volunteer, and what are the expectations of them? Obviously, it's not 40 hours a week.
No.
But you put a lot into their training. Training's free, right?
There's no cost to the applicant at all. They're going to receive the same certifications that any career firefighter around here receives. The Firefighter 1, the Firefighter 2, hazmat operations, and then eventually EMTB. We require 24 hours of service a month as a volunteer.
Okay.
And we find our volunteers do a little bit more than that, and that's good. But we do that for a 2-year time period, and then after that, we kind of figure that the money that we have invested in training is done, but people still stick with us. Now, we get a lot of members of the local military that volunteer.
I was going to ask, can they work that around their military
sure.
duties?
And if we certainly understand that people in the military get deployed, they get activated, they got to go, we can work with them on that.
So when they can do their volunteer commitment, and I'll bet they do extra when they can, and less if they're, obviously they can't.
They do.
That month or two or however long they're deployed.
We have a recent graduate of one of our volunteer firefighter academies who's a member at the Phoebus Company, and he is active duty in the U.S. Navy. His carrier is at the shipyard for an extended period of time.
Right.
And Jordan is there every day, and all he wants to do is learn. He's a sponge. He's a great young man, and he's going to go a long way in the fire service.
And so that could be, he could do fire service in the military,
Yes.
Switch over as his career. He could, people who are maybe getting ready to
Retire
separate
from the
service,
yes.
either retire or just, not stay in the full 20. This could be a bridge to, it's a way to test out and
Yes.
see, is this a career for me?
Get some experiences, retire, fairly young in life, and then look for that second career. And through volunteering and then that transition to a career position, we have a lot of success with our military members. And that's the type of person we're looking for, somebody who's used to working within a paramilitary organization, understands a rank structure, but also is dedicated.
We have to be pretty darn physically fit, too.
You do. You do.
There's no way, even as a young person, that I would have been ready. Your military people are a little more
They are.
fit and trained for that sort of thing.
That person that leads that active lifestyle, that's what we're looking for.
And how many women do we have in the ranks? I know it is, the upper body strength is traditionally,
Yes.
We're not as well developed in that area.
Our women ranks are growing. The women that we bring into the fire service are phenomenal. We have women in all ranks of our fire department, from recruit firefighters that are in the academy right now up through an assistant fire chief. And they're firefighters. Plain and simple, they're firefighters.
And I know they do a summer camp for Girl Scouts. I mean,
Camp
they
Fury.
are working to either, well, I guess it depends on what the girl wants, but potentially pull some into the fire service, but also give them that strength and confidence that being involved,
Women can do anything that at any time. So the Camp Fury is great, and it's inspired more than one young lady to look at the fire service as a career.
Okay, so if someone is listening to this and thinking, maybe I'm interested, I wonder if I qualify, how would I get more information?
They can do a couple of things. They can call me in my office. I'm the recruitment and retention officer. My phone number is 727-1223. They can look at our city's website, Hampton Fire, or hamptongov./fire, or our volunteers page, hamptonfire.org. So they can look at any of those, get some information. My contact information is on all those websites with my phone number and my email address.
And this really reflects how that system is intertwined. I mean, you are recruiting and retraining volunteers and the professional staff.
Yes.
You are developing the curriculums for both of them, and it's so similar.
Yes. We want to be a seamless department. Our goal is that the citizen of the city of Hampton or anybody visiting our city, when they have an emergency, they have a seamless level of service. And that's what we want. That's Chief Lehman's goal, and we're there to support that.
And we should note that your fire department has a wonderful ranking. Tell me the ISO ranking since you're here.
We just got our Class 1 ISO rating, and we are one of only 5 departments in the Commonwealth to have that, 148 nationwide. And what it means to business owners and the homeowners is lower insurance.
That is important.
It is. It is. we have a fire department that is multifunctional. We are geared towards EMS and fire, but we also support hazardous materials response, technical rescue response, marine emergency response. We support our FEMA urban search and rescue team, regional hazmat teams, regional incident management teams we have members on. And we are geared to serve our citizens with the highest level of service that we possibly can. We are geared towards serving our neighboring jurisdictions.
Tremendous amount of cooperation I've seen with Langley, with Newport News,
Yes.
with York County even, depending on where it is.
Yes, the tragic events of 9/11 showed that mutual aid is something we have to have. And we train with our neighboring jurisdictions on a daily basis. We're in communications with them. Tonight we're graduating our Fire Officers Academy, and this is for firefighters who are looking to move up into ranks. And it's a regional school where we have firefighters from Hampton, Newport News, York County, James City County, Williamsburg, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Navy Regional. And they come together one weekend a month for a year and learn to be fire officers. So it's a huge commitment. They have research projects they have to do. So we get to know one another. We get to know everybody. Everybody has a certain little niche that they take care of. And so we learn how to work well together and to do that. And our, for all those specialty teams we have, those are also all open to our volunteers. Our volunteers,
that's great.
if they really want to be a hazmat technician and do hazmat response, they can do that.
Okay.
So lots of good things going on.
That sounds wonderful. And before we close, we should say, too, that having volunteers saves the taxpayers, me,
It does.
a ton of money.
It does. There are always going to be staffing shortages. No department's ever going to be fully staffed. And we look at our volunteers to fill that gap.
Right. You'd be paying time and a half, or you'd be pushing people beyond their limits if you had to fill all the gaps with
I
your
think
paid staff.
the key thing we do now is we have major incidents that happen in the city, and our career staff is first out the door to manage those. However, our volunteers come in and backfill our stations, and then pick up the calls that are still coming in.
Because that continues to happen, right?
Absolutely. And that way our citizens see no drop in service.
You can still get there quickly.
Absolutely.
Because there's that backup crew.
Absolutely.
Ready.
When we have large events, they come in and expand. They're force multipliers. So when the hurricanes come, our volunteers are there, and it's seamless.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope that if you are able, you will consider being a volunteer firefighter or pass the word along to someone you may know.